I still got Carolina at number 4. I think this is still appropriate. I think that this team had some interesting moments last season. I think that I like Matt Rule as a coach. I just don't think, I still don't think they're in a position to make the playoffs. So they're still just not the talent on the roster. It's developing. It's going to take a couple of years to get better. I think it's going to take another year. That I still think this roster is one of the bottom in the league. And neither one of us are Sam Darnold guys. So we're going to get into that too. I had Carolina here at 4.
Yeah, I think this is fair. It's tough. I mean, Matt Rule I thought was solid as a first year head coach. He didn't blow me away. He ended up in 19th in the rankings. And just to be clear, he was like I think one spot behind like Vrabel. So these like established. I think Zimmer was also like right there. So it's tough. He's not a bad coach, but he is kind of in that line of I would like to see more out of him. I guess the real concern with the Panthers is this. They're really just going all in on Sam Darnold. I mean, they didn't even have him play in the preseason game today. They're find someone who will accept all of your faults the way the Panthers will accept all of Darnold's, because they're confident this is going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we continue to say this. Everything that I'm willing to be proven wrong on this. I'll continue to say that. If Sam Darnold, I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong on it if he turns it around. But I mean, you could blame Adam Gase all you want, but it doesn't change the fact that Joe Flacco looked better last season. The offense looked better when Joe Flacco was on the field. Sam Darnold had 6.3 yards per attempt from a clean pocket during his time with the Jets. That's the number I saw. That's amazingly bad. I don't know. I don't see it. He throws interceptions. He makes bad decisions. He forces some throws, and I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I mean, we're willing to be proven wrong, but we've yet to see any semblance of life from Darnold.
Yeah, and again, there's also, I don't know, PJ Walker's in there. Maybe you think that, I kind of have said this entire time, I don't hate the idea of getting Darnold. I just think there should have been a backup plan. I do have him as the worst starting quarterback in the league right now. So that's obviously tier 5. And it's tough to win many games with a tier 5 quarterback. It's possible, but it's really tough to be a playoff team with a tier 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's a bad group overall. And yeah, I mean, this is not the division to have a bad quarterback in either, especially with some of the defenses like New Orleans and Tampa Bay as well.
Yeah, there's also Atlanta, but we'll get to that in a second. Running back, this is the team basically. It's Christian McCaffrey. He was incredible 2 years ago. He's been incredible when he's been healthy. Missed last season with an injury. They also have is it Chuba or Chuba Hubbard? You're the college guy.
I've always gone under Chuba Hubbard. So
Chuba Hubbard. Okay, so you got Chuba Hubbard there, but really it's Christian McCaffrey as the tier 1 running back. He is someone that you have to completely adjust how you play against, and that's my line of the true elite running backs are the ones that you don't play man coverage against because you want to make sure that you can stop him. So he's tier 1 for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic player, and I think Chuba's a nice option for health reasons. We saw it last year. Mike Davis, I thought, did a solid job. Obviously wasn't as good as Christian McCaffrey, but he did a solid job as replacing him when he was hurt. I think Chuba could be something like that too. And yeah, I mean, I think McCaffrey's a difference maker of this team. Everything about him. He can run inside, outside. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He might be the best receiving back in the league. So there's everything that's fantastic about him. And he, the rest of the offense, I mean, the skill position, I don't really have a problem with Carolina. It's just everything they have around it.
Yeah, to transition there off of what you said, the wide receiver / tight end group, you have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, who, Robbie Anderson actually got targeted more than DJ Moore did last year. You have David Moore as well from Seattle, who I thought showed flashes with Seattle. They obviously drafted Terrence Marshall and Shea Smith as well. Marshall, kind of the bigger name guy there, could at least be a good number 3 option. I think he could be better than that, to be honest. So tight ends, Dan Arnold and Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas kind of replacement level. Dan Arnold's solid though. It's a tier 3 wide receiver room for me. Again, it's a loaded wide receiver league basically. So you have to do a lot to get in that tier 2 or tier 1. But with guys like Moore, Anderson, and Marshall, I think they have 3 solid options and can run this offense well.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely another strength of the group, like you said. I'm excited to see Terrace Marshall. He was a guy I was really high on before the draft. I'm excited for DJ Moore again. I think he's going to see less. He got a ton of attention last year, and I think he's going to see a little bit less this season now that Anderson had a pretty good year and Marshall's in the building as well, and McCaffrey's going to be healthy. So I think he'll see a little less attention this season, and I think he'll have a big year as well. So I just think this is a really strong receiving group.
Yeah, it's certainly a huge upgrade from what Darnold was dealing with last year in New York.
Yeah, I mean, not much is obvious. I mean, that part
Mm-hmm.
is definitely going to help him, but transitioning to the next one, I'm sure you're going to talk about this. The boys up front aren't going to help.
Right. Yeah, it's a tier 5 offensive line. You got Taylor Motton. He's the star. He is the guy who is in the group project doing all the work. He's very good. But you have, Cam Irving, who I have in my notes as replacement level. They also drafted Brady Christensen in the 3rd round for their inside guys. For guards, Pat Eflin, Dennis Daly, and John Miller. I don't think any of those guys are moving the needle for me. Not any of them I really want to be starting, quite frankly. Matt Paradas, who has had solid years at center. He's not a horrible option, but as a whole, this is not a good offensive line when you have your second best player is solid and your third best player is borderline replacement level.
Yeah. I don't know. I paid a lot of attention to Cam Irving just because I know him from high school and all that kind of stuff. Or I covered his high school in Georgia, basically.
Okay. I was going to say, oh, wow.
I didn't personally know him. No.
Gotcha.
I covered his high school in Georgia and all that kind of stuff. So I paid attention, and I mean, I like him as a 6th or 7th offensive lineman, not my starting left tackle.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's going to be an issue. So yeah, I mean, this was another stat I saw with the Panthers, along with Sam Darnold. They've had 10 left tackles since 2013.
That's crazy.
That's unreal. 10 offensive tackles play that position. It's just insane how they've had to cycle through these guys. And it's another new one this year.
Yeah, it's something. So offense, not great, even with a tier 1 running back, which I put a lot of value on. The analytics say getting that top 5 running back helps you a lot. Even with that, they're only the 25th best offense in the league, even with a tier 3 receiving core due to the quarterback and offensive line positions not great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've got to get something out of Darnold. If Darnold can even vault himself into a tier 3 quarterback, maybe show a little bit of promise, then maybe this offense can develop a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tough sledding for this group overall.
Yeah, I don't even know if that would be enough to make them a playoff team. I don't think it would, to be honest. And we can get into that with their defense. So their coverage, they drafted J.C. Horn, which we can talk about him for a second because, when Justin Fields had a great day, which I'll put great in quotes. I mean, he showed some flashes, made some highlight reel level plays. Everyone was talking about the Broncos, but I mean, the Panthers did the exact same thing where they went out and they drafted a corner, J.C. Horn, just one spot earlier. So they could have had Fields or Jones as well. They also have Dante Jackson, who, it's fine. And AJ Boye, who at this point in his career, I'm not sure if I want starting. So the corners they basically need J.C. Horn to come in and be like a great rookie, which just doesn't happen that often. I like Jeremy Chin a lot. Justin Burris is okay. And then you have Shaq Thompson and Denzel Perryman as the linebackers. It's a tier 4 coverage unit for me. They have enough guys that I don't think they'll have guys getting burned consistently. And I do care about that in the secondary. But it's tier 4, and it was 27th. So one spot lower, it would have been tier 5.
Yeah, I mean, we've said this 1,000 times on this podcast, and we'll probably say it 1,000 times more. Young cornerbacks take a while to get, developed. And you're playing 2 young quarterbacks or a basically washed cornerback who's suspended right now, I believe. So I think Jackson and Horn can be good corners. I think it's going to take a little bit because it takes everybody a little bit. I'm just not banking on young cornerbacks and a young secondary being productive. I like Thompson. I like Reddick in the linebacker spot, but there's only so much they're going to be able to do to boost this coverage group.
Yeah, and then for the front seven to round out the defense. Inside, you got Derek Brown. I could see Brown having that, defensive tackle second year jump, and he showed flashes last year. Braven Roy next to him, nothing spectacular there. So they could use maybe some depth on the inside. Their edge guys, though, you have Brian Burns, you have Yetur Gross Matos, and you also, Hassan Reddick will both play off-ball linebacker and edge, so it's kind of a unique skill set there. So as a whole, the run defense I have as tier 4, pass rush tier 3. Brian Burns is great. Gross Matos, maybe we'll see him have a jump as well. So the defense as a whole, though, I'm not too high on. I have it as the 28th best defense in football, so I'm very low on, in fact.
Yeah, this is, I think that's fair. This is a bad group. Now, you could say, hey, Derek Brown gets better, then all of a sudden him, Denzel Perryman, that's a pretty nice run up the middle run duo that can make some plays. Brian Burns can obviously make some plays. Maybe Gross Matos helps him out, like you said. But yeah, overall, it's kind of like, well, maybe this could happen. Maybe this could happen. It's kind of like, well, we're hoping for all this to happen. And that's the thing I've been saying about Carolina. This is just going to take a lot of time. I think I said before last season, and they surprised us a little bit. I said this was the worst roster in the league last year. And I still don't think it's a very good roster. I still think it's a really developing roster. There's just so many young guns on this team. I can't imagine this team being competitive this year, maybe next year. I think that they're building something, but it's just going to take too long.
Yeah. So here's Jake Thornton says, oops, wrong. The thing upload. Let's see. I think Carolina is going to be drafting Spencer Rattler, which, again, take out of account which quarterback they could get. Is this let's try to let our young guys grow. Let's sort of punt on the quarterback position, take a flyer on Darnold. He'll either be great or he'll suck. And if he sucks, we can get a quarterback in the draft because we'll have like a top 10 pick.